Hey guys, sorry, I didn't know that I didn't hit the live button there. So, welcome into Talking SEC. Excuse me, this is Kenneth from Crunch Time Sports Advantage. Um, going to be here with you for the next 2 hours talking the early action in the SEC as well as a live look in to some of the games that's going on right now. We actually have Auburn, Penn State, 10-7. Penn State is knocking on the door at the 2 yard line with a first and goal with about a little over 2 minutes left to go before halftime. We are certainly going to talk a lot about that Alabama-Florida game, but also the absolutely horrific call that went against Mississippi State in that game against Memphis. Just to recap the play, if you guys haven't seen it already, Mississippi State is punting the ball back to Memphis, under 3 minutes left to go. The ball is downed inside of the 3 yard line, not blown dead. Illegal substitution on Memphis because they have two guys wearing the same jersey number. Play should have been blown dead. That touchdown should have not counted. I'm not saying Mississippi State would have won that contest, but certainly the last 3 minutes definitely would have played out a lot differently. We have a score in the Penn State-Auburn game. Penn State just converted inside the red zone on a 2 yard pass to Brenton Strange to take a 13-10 lead, PAT pending. Guys, definitely going to get to that Alabama-Florida game here in just a minute. I want to recap some of the other action real quick because honestly, I'm not going to go back unless I get a question from one of the fans here. Tennessee beat Tennessee Tech there in Neyland Stadium 56-0. Guys, there's nothing that I'm going to take away from that ball game. Missouri beat Southeast Missouri State 59-28. Kentucky in an absolute sleepwalking performance against Chattanooga 28-23. Arkansas got it done against Georgia State 45-10. Texas A&M 34-0 against New Mexico. Guys, look at the live action real quick before we get into that Alabama-Florida game because that is going to take up a lot of time there. Georgia up 26-6 at halftime over South Carolina. Penn State with about a minute and a half is up 14-10 with about a minute 25 seconds left to go in the first half. LSU 35, Central Michigan 7, about a minute and a half left to go in the first half. That Ole Miss Tulane game is in a weather delay. Guys, we do not have a official time set for when that game is going to kick off. I'm actually checking my messages right now, and I'm still haven't gotten an update as when that game is going to kick off. Stanford playing against Vandy here in Nashville. Stanford up 14-7, 8.5 minutes left to go before the half. Guys, I'm going to put up some of these comments because we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this Florida Georgia game. And just to kind of set the stage before I get to some of your comments here. We did not know going into this season how having full capacity back in these stadiums would affect some of the play that we're used to seeing in the SEC. So last year during COVID, especially with all the protocols we had, and rightfully so, we saw stadiums at about 25% to about 50% capacity. Now we're at full capacity in these stadiums. And I got to tell you guys, full disclosure, I did not have this Alabama-Florida game as close as the final score was. No question about it. I thought Alabama would win by double digits in this ball game. Alabama narrowly escapes the swamp with a 31-29 win. Credit to Dan Mullen. Credit to his staff. Guys, Florida dominated this game on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Alabama fans going forward, You'll hear this week Nick Saban in every press conference that he talks about, he will hammer the fact that not only the mental mistakes that Alabama made in that ball game, but the lack of offensive line being able to dominate like Alabama fans are used to seeing. That is not the case right now. And guys, a huge drop on a pick six by Penn State. Bo Nix threw a horrible pass in the flat, and the Penn State linebacker absolutely just could not grab the ball. If you're Auburn, you gotta get to halftime not trailing, because Bo Nix almost threw the pick that would have cost Auburn a chance to win this ball game. Auburn's going to punt with about 54 seconds left to go in the first half. I would not be shocked, knowing the conservative nature of Penn State. They have a 4-point lead. If they don't get a big return on this punt return here, expect them to take a knee and go into the half. So we're going to see if Oscar Chapman is able to get a booming punt here, and then I'm going to get into the Alabama-Florida game in a lot of detail. Okay, so fair catch by Penn State with 45 seconds left to go in the first half, leading Auburn 14-10. All right, guys, let's get into some of these comments here, because love the interaction from all of you fans, and definitely can't wait to put some of those comments up here. So let's start with explicit. Go Gators. Though we lost, I am proud. You absolutely should be, because I will tell you, I was absolutely extremely critical of Dan Mullen for having Anthony Richardson in that ball game last week when you were already up double digits. Anthony Richardson pulls his hamstring, wasn't able to go in this contest, and big 16, 18-yard run there by Sean Clifford for Penn State to push that ball out from their own 21 to, looks like he's stepped out of bounds right at their 40-yard line. So Penn State is now going to try to push this ball and see if they can get into field goal range. So a big stop here by the Auburn Tigers if they don't want to go into halftime down by any more points than they already are. And like I said, just a horrible play by Bo Nix. Another first down by Penn State, and they do have 2 timeouts. So now, forget that conservative play calling now. They're looking to try to put points on the board. Surprised they did not take a timeout right there. You have 2 timeouts, Penn State. Horrible play call there. Clifford just absolutely gets body rocked and picked off by none other than one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football, Roger McCreary. Sean Clifford just absolutely got blowed up there by number 9 for Auburn. Guys, when you go back and watch the replay, this is textbook coming in and absolutely laying the sledgehammer on a delayed blitz. Absolutely textbook hit right in the rib cage. McCreary, beautiful job of basically fielding that like a fair catch on a punt. Auburn would be smart to just take a knee and get out of this half, not losing. Clifford will be interested to see how bad those ribs are, because that young man face says it all if you're watching this ball game right now. Just absolutely blown up. Auburn does the smart thing, takes a knee. They will go into half trailing 14-10. Should be down by 21-10 if Penn State does not drop that interception that would have been a pick six. Bo Nix is lucky to get out of there with that. Auburn is set to receive the ball in the second half, so big momentum in that ball game right there. Colton Reed, how's it going, Colton, man? Gators. So proud of your boys from the swamp. let me say this to every Florida fan watching this live or will go back and see it later. You should be proud as you know what of your team and the effort that they gave in that ball game. Guys, they took the number one team to the limit and had a chance to tie the game there on a 2-point conversion. Missed extra points. Guys, kickers are people too. How big missing an extra point in this ball game was. Let's take a look at the stats for this ball game because, like I said, this game is going to get a lot of attention. Florida had the advantage in first downs, 26-19. Florida 5 for 12 on third down conversion. Alabama 7 for 13. Total yardage. Florida absolutely dominated this Alabama defense. 440 yards of total offense, 331 for Alabama. Passing, that INT by Emory, guys, that wasn't a bad read by Emory. That was pressure, hit on the play. That pass floated. Alabama was able to pick that play off. But Emory Jones in this passing offense for Florida, 18 for 28, 195 yards once again. The rushing was the story for Florida. I had said on my podcast, I said on all the interviews that I had done this week, could Florida run the ball against this Alabama defense? I thought no. Guys, I was flat out wrong. 43 attempts, 245 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt. Alabama, your run game starts with that offensive line. That offensive line is going to get you beat in a big game coming up. Let's just remember, Ole Miss is on the schedule here. We don't know what Texas A&M is going to be, but they're on the schedule. And honestly, don't know if you can count out LSU at this point based on what we saw today from Alabama. Guys, I want to take a look at some of these rushing numbers for these running backs from Florida because, like I said, I'm all for giving credit when credit is due. Tyler, absolutely right. The Gators just didn't play with heart. They played with effort. They played like they wanted to win this ball game and not just stay close. Guys, Malik Davis, I think this may have been the best game I've seen him play in a Florida uniform. 10 carries, 86 yards, 1 touchdown. But the effort that this kid ran with, Florida fans, you got something to be proud of with that kid at the running back position. There should be no more running back committee at Florida. Malik Davis should now start to get 18 to 20 carries every single ball game because of how hard he ran in this contest. Emory Jones gave you something on the ground as well. 19 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Wright, 7 carries for 58 yards. Guys, you have your tailback, and I would feed this guy like Texas A&M did down the stretch last year with Isaiah Spiller. Bryce Young, a solid game. Bryce has to use his legs a little bit more often for the University of Alabama. There were opportunities for him to run the ball and absolutely did not. Good job by this Florida secondary. When they were down in this ball game, 21-3 at the end of the first quarter, I thought that the dam was going to break and Florida was going to get blown out of the building. Once again, credit to Dan Mullen for making a few adjustments. Credit to that Florida defense. And guys, I know, and Colton, I'm going to put your comments up on the screen here in just a moment. Todd Grantham coached his absolute butt off in the second half against Alabama. Alabama scored 10 points in the second half. 10 points in the second half. Guys, look, I've heard from Florida fans, third and Grantham, all of that. Guys, this is a game where Todd Grantham coached his butt off. And to take it even further, over the final 3 quarters, Alabama scored a total of 10 points. You would have won a lot of money in Vegas if you said that you would have thought that Alabama would score 21 points in the first quarter and only have 10 points the rest of the game. Absolutely shocking there. Raider Nation, big game for you guys coming up on tomorrow as far as the NFL goes, but War Eagle right now, and I don't know if you're watching the game, Raider Nation 34, but that dropped interception by Penn State could be the reason why you're still in this ball game. And I said going into this weekend's games, which quarterback did not make the biggest mistake in this ball game, that team was going to win. Bo Nix almost made a huge interception and almost cost Auburn a chance to stay in this ball game. I think, well, coming into, and that's a fantastic question there. I'm going to say no, only because you rarely see a team move up when they lose a game. But here's what I will say explicit about Florida. Florida's not going to drop a lot in the polls. I don't expect with this kind of performance. Tell you what, give me 15 seconds here and let me take a look at who is slightly behind Florida to where. Okay, so Virginia Tech lost. Coastal Carolina, Virginia Tech was 15. Coastal Carolina, a 3-point win over Buffalo. Iowa State is at number 14. They're playing UNLV. And give me, tell you what, let me see if I can get the latest poll here. It may not give it to me. Okay. And guys, this is one of the things about doing this live. Okay, so Florida in the and we'll go by the AP poll here. So in the AP poll, Florida was ranked 11th. Notre Dame, not impressive, but they're going to go to 3-0. So I think you're going to slide behind them. Depending on the outcome of this Auburn Penn State game will affect your position. I think you're going to drop especially I think UCLA is on a bye. So I think Florida's going to drop below them. You may drop. Okay, guys, I'll go out on a limb here and say the lowest I see the University of Florida being ranked in the AP next week is 15. And like I said, we still got some games pending, so that's going to be interesting. Hey, Tyler, absolutely. So, guys, and like I said, sorry about the voice, but I got a chance to be a fan today watching some of these games, and my voice is absolutely shot. So, Florida threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Alabama in this ball game. And I got to tell you, matter of fact, here's what I want to look up real quick. I want to look up who does Florida play next week, because here's my concern for Florida, and it's only because in an emotional game that they just played in, does it take the energy out of the ball club? Well, they got Tennessee at home next week, and I do believe that game is a 6 p.m. Kickoff game. So, hard-fought game. Colton, honestly, I can't say would AR have made that big of a difference, because from the passing standpoint, AR does not give you any more than what Emory Jones does as far as a passer. As far as a runner, man, debatable, certainly. After that performance, you think you guys can still win the East? Sure. I mean, as a Florida fan, why not? I mean, now here's what you have in front of you. You got to take care of business next week, University of Florida. I know it's against Tennessee, but it's an Eastern divisional opponent. Can't afford to drop a game in the East, especially considering who Georgia has as far as its cross divisional opponents. Every game as far as in conference is a must win for the Gators. You had to play that coverage, especially with the cornerbacks that Florida has on the field outside of Elam right now. You as the University of Florida don't have cornerbacks good enough to play press man-to-man coverage. You have to now. Were they bailing out a little bit too much? Absolutely, but no, that Florida secondary not good enough to where you can play that kind of coverage that I think you want to see. Captain Trips, absolutely, man. Like I said, if I'm Dan Mullen in the locker room, I am doing the best sales job to my team that I possibly can, and saying, guys, we can absolutely go win the East. We just have to perform. Hey, Chris. Hey, welcome into the show, man. Sam Pittman. I said last year he should have been SEC Coach of the Year. I know it was against Georgia Southern, but the fact that Arkansas is 3-0 right now, Sam Pittman right now, my early candidate for SEC Coach of the Year, along with Mark Stoops of Kentucky. So yeah, Arkansas, like I said, now looking at who they played against, Georgia Southern, FCS team. Not going to buy into a lot of those stats, but KJ Jefferson for Arkansas did take a huge step forward in this ball game. Hey, gents, thank you. Okay, so let me get into that comment about Bryce Young. Bryce Young is not a dual threat quarterback. Let me say that again. Bryce Young is not a dual threat quarterback. Not in the way that we hear dual threat quarterbacks talked about. He's not a Lamar Jackson, a Michael Vick. He plays the game more like, and credit to the CBS guy, Gary Danielson, who pointed this out. He plays like Russell Wilson. When he escapes out of the pocket, he's doing so to allow his wide receivers to get down the field and make big chunk plays. Hey, Chris, I saw the 91 yard pass highlight here just before coming on to the show. Like I said, huge confidence booster for KJ Jefferson taking over as the full-time starter there for Arkansas. Colton, you know what? What won me over with KJ Jefferson was last year. I think it was against Missouri when Felipe Franks was unable to go. He steps in and put on a tremendous performance in that contest. Jance, thank you so much. That was Brandon Smith that dropped that pick six. If he catches that, guys, this ball game between Auburn and Penn State, that game's over, and it's over at the half. Because talking to people in and around that Auburn program, what they have been preaching to Bo Nix all spring, all summer, all fall practice long was not making the mistake that would kill you. And he certainly almost did. Jance, you know what? I will say this is, you know what? As far as clear-cut top four. Now, as far as on our network, we won't release our first official poll until after next week. So after the first 4 weeks of the college football season have been played, that's when our first poll will come out over at Crunch Time Sports. But I will absolutely tell you that I think we have 5 to 8 teams that are in that mix for the top four. And guys, I'll put up your comments here about the top four. Alabama, hostile environment in the swamp, would definitely remain number one. Georgia, and give me just a moment here. Okay, so that game between Georgia and South Carolina, we're out of the half. Looks like about 5 minutes into the third quarter. Georgia's starting to pull away 33-6. Getting ready to come out of the half. LSU's up 35-7. Vanderbilt trailing Stanford going into the half 24-14. And we are still in a weather delay with Ole Miss Tulane. Guys, if you're not seeing some of the weather, just tremendous amount of rain and flooding hitting parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Our thoughts and prayers are going out to all of those communities because just a record amount of rain causing a lot of flooding across the Southeast. So if you're in some of those areas, guys, please be safe. Stay off the roads if possible, and do be careful. Okay, so Alabama will stay 1. Georgia will likely stay 2. Guys, if you didn't see it earlier, and I know this is talking SEC, but that Oklahoma game, man, that Oklahoma team has a lot of question marks. Iowa is one of those teams, guys, fundamentally sound ball clubs are absolutely dangerous. And that team absolutely looked fantastic to me. I got a chance to watch a huge chunk of that game. That Iowa team is absolutely legit. Let's see. And Iowa was ranked number 5. Let's see. Who is number 4? Guys, pardon me here. Let's see. Okay, so Looks like okay. And Oregon is ranked number 4 out after that big win that they had against Ohio State in Columbus last week. They're up 17-7 on Stony Brook. So the way I see it right now, based on what the AP poll is going to do, Alabama will stay 1. They will lose. They will lose some votes to Georgia. Not enough for them to drop out of the number 1 spot, but expect Georgia to pick up some first place votes. Like I said, Georgia would be number 2. Curious to see if Oregon jumps Oklahoma and goes to that 3 spot. Oklahoma dropping to the 4 spot. Colton, I can absolutely guarantee you that Texas A&M will not be in the top 4. That performance that they had today, yes, it was 34-0 against a New Mexico team, but I certainly do not see Texas A&M moving up in the top 5 after that performance. After today, is it still a foregone conclusion that Bama comes out of the West? That is going to depend a lot on and give me just a second because I want to make sure I double check this real quick. 2 weeks from now, October 2nd, Ole Miss comes to Tuscaloosa. Now, this game will be at home for Alabama, so that crowd noise that worked against Alabama in Gainesville will work in their advantage. But if there's any team in the West right now that could absolutely beat Alabama, it is, oh my goodness, Auburn. First snap of the play tries some kind of reverse wide receiver, gets stripped. Penn State has the ball inside the Auburn red zone. This is just absolutely dumb play calling. Why are you trying to run a trick play right out of the half when you've been running the ball? And he just flats out drops the ball, carrying it like a loaf of bread. Who's number 5 for Auburn? He tries to switch hands. Oh, my goodness. Guys, if you're watching this live, Hudson, man, that was horrible. Hey, Chris, fantastic question here. And I would love to hear, and if you could put up in the chat, who do you think would be in the top 4? Colton, I haven't seen Michigan play one worthy opponent yet on this schedule. And I know we're talking SEC, but guys, if you're going to put questions in the chat, guys, I love the interaction and absolutely will answer it whether it's an SEC question or not. So I don't trust this. I don't trust this Michigan ball club enough. They beat the best win that they have on their resume right now is a game against Washington. And Washington, for a lack of a better term, is god awful. LW, I can go ahead and tell you that's not going to happen. That's not Bryce Young's game. So if Alabama fans are wanting to see that added to his game, I can go ahead and tell you from watching this kid, some of his high school tape and what I've seen here in college, don't expect that, and that's just not who his game is. That looked like a lot of Gus play. Talking about the Auburn game. Guys, as much criticism as Gus Malzahn gets, I don't think Gus would have called anything that stupid coming out of the half. This is a must stop here for and Clifford over the top for a touchdown, pending a point after. Oh, no, Clifford is not in the ball game, guys. Tyler Warren in for the touchdown. So Clifford may be out with a rib injury. So Warner in, which makes that play call by Auburn and Brian Hartson even more, for a lack of a better word, stupid. You have Tank Bigsby in your backfield, and that's what you call. No. That's just stupid. There's a team in Columbus, even though they haven't played well. Michigan, until they can beat that team, and Michigan's also going to have to beat this Penn State team. I'm not buying into. I'm not buying in the University of Michigan. Too hype Central. I think we can win the East and have a good chance at the playoffs if we beat Alabama. Too hype. Let's think about it. You have next week Tennessee, but then before you even talk about winning the East, you have to beat Kentucky. And before you say it's Kentucky, Kentucky was going to give you one sleepwalking performance, and they gave it to you today, and they still scored 28 points. This Kentucky team can absolutely beat Florida. Now, conversely, Florida could absolutely beat Kentucky. So that's going to be an interesting game here in a couple of weeks. Hey, Chris, top four, Bama, Georgia, Oregon, Iowa. It'll be interesting to see if the voters drop Oklahoma out of the top five. But Chris, I got to be honest with you. I can't argue with that. I absolutely can't argue with that. Based on who Iowa has beat, a top 10 team in Iowa State. Oregon beat a top 5 team in Ohio State, and Oklahoma has not looked good against anybody. Hey, Colton, jump back in here and answer me this question. Because Dan Mullen is not an elite recruiter. And I think I said that last week on the show. But Dan Mullen is not an elite recruiter. And what do I mean by elite recruiter? Dan Mullen has never in his coaching career, as a head coach, whether it was at Mississippi State or his tenure at Florida, never landed a top flight quarterback. Dan Mullen has never landed one of the top 4 or 5 wide receivers in that particular year's recruiting class. Dan Mullen has never landed a top 5 offensive lineman in a recruiting class. So until Dan Mullen is able to flip that switch in a conference like the SEC, you're going to be playing at a talent disadvantage. And credit to Dan Mullen now. I'm going to give Dan Mullen this. He's not an elite recruiter, but that performance today moved him up in my coaching rankings in the SEC. Now, I still got to go back to this question, Colton. How dumb was it for AR to still be in that game for Florida last week against South Florida? Yikes. Oh, the ACC is absolutely horrible. And I got a chance to just watch the end of that Clemson-Georgia Tech game. Clemson is not a sure thing to make the college football playoff. You're seeing Auburn now trying to get back on the board here. And here's where, if you are an Auburn fan being down 11, you're thinking, this is the last place we wanted to be in this ball game. And that was, oh my God, now the game is in Bo Nix's hands. And guys, pardon me here. I'm just trying to check and see if there's any update on this Ole Miss Tulane game. I'm going to see if I can reach out to a source of mine real quick and see if there's anything. Okay, so no update to when that game is going to start. And guys, if you haven't seen it, I'm talking about heavy rain moving across the southeast parts of Alabama, including Tuscaloosa. I think Ole Miss may be getting hit with it. The game with Clemson and Georgia Tech was affected by weather. So we're going to keep an eye on this game for the next hours in 15 minutes that I'm on the air with you to see if we get any update. But right now, that game is still in a weather delay, and there is no official start time for that game. So, guys, we may be looking at a game being postponed here. We'll await official word, but I don't want to jump the gun on that. But we're already pushing almost an hour plus long delay in that ball game. Bo Nix is trying to drive his team back down the field. They just crossed midfield. Guys, plenty of time left for Auburn to get back into this ball game. So we'll see if Auburn can put a score on the board here in absolutely a must touchdown score in this ball game. Yeah, so no official word from everyone there at the stadium. Oklahoma has not looked elite whatsoever. And honestly, Oklahoma could easily drop that game to Iowa State and cost themselves a college football playoff berth. Oh no, you're absolutely right, Colton. My only question was, that was a dumb coaching decision by Dan Mullen, knowing that he was going to probably want to use Anthony Richardson in this game against Alabama, and not having him available took away a part of the playbook that he would have used. And that's where I question a lot of Dan Mullen's decision making. If we're going to beat up Kirby Smart for some of the mental mistakes that he's made, calling the fake punt against Alabama in that game, as well as some of the things that we saw Justin Fields transferring, Jake Fromm being the starting quarterback. You got to question that decision by Dan Mullen there. Now, going forward, with the way that Emory played in this game, is that enough to where Florida is still going to go with a 2-quarterback system? And guys, Auburn is on the move inside of the Penn State. Looking for it here. Okay, they're inside the Penn State 30-yard line. As I said, guys, this is a must, absolutely must touchdown here for Auburn if they have any hopes of winning this ball game. Big third down in this ball game. Third and looks like about 3. If I'm Auburn, I'm not even kicking a field goal. I got 2 downs to pick up 3 yards. I'm giving the ball to my best offensive player, Tank Bixby, and he absolutely has to get me a first down. 3rd and 1. Guys, here's the ball game. Oh, thank you. And like I said, here on Mark Rogers TV, as well as over on the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, every show that we do, whether it's podcast, this live game, look in right now, it's all for you, the fans, because you guys drive the show. We want you to be involved in the show. Tell a friend, whether they're a fan of any particular SEC team, hop in because I love the interaction, love reading the comments, and absolutely want you to feel like you're a part of the show. I will continue to give live updates of all the games because that was something that the fans asked for. So let's take a look at the Florida-South Carolina game. Guys, Georgia, South Carolina. Georgia is up 40-6. Auburn right now is inside of the red zone at the 16-yard line, 2nd and 7, and they're just feeding the beast. I mean, this is old Cadillac Williams. This is Ronnie Brown. This is This is what Auburn should be against Penn State. It is taking the ball out of Bo Nix's hands and giving it to that guy, Tank Bixby. Now, in my preseason all SEC team, I left Tank off the first team, not because I didn't think he was a talented running back. I just thought Kevin Harris for South Carolina, Chris Rodriguez for Kentucky were just getting overlooked, along with Isaiah Spiller for Texas A&M. Tank is one hell of a running back, guys, and he's proven it on this drive. I would be shocked if Bo Nix throws the ball anymore in this drive. Auburn, 1st and goal on the 6-yard line. Tank in the natural eye, pitch. Guys, this is old school Auburn football here. Auburn, Tank Bixby, touchdown. 6-yard run. Auburn's back in this ball game, guys. PAT pending, but Auburn is absolutely back in this ball game. That's just a big-time run by Tank Bixby, guys. Whether you're watching this game or you're watching another game right now, that's a big-time run by a big-time running back. And I highlighted the numbers for Tank versus bad defenses last year versus good defenses. That young man on this drive ran with a purpose. And I would love to pull up the drive tracker to see how many times he ran the ball in that particular drive. So I'm going to see if I can pull that up here real quick because that was a Tank Bixby drive there. And Auburn fans, if you're listening or watching this live right now, that's what you needed. You needed that young man to absolutely step up and put you right back in the ball game. So let's count on this drive how many times Tank ran the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between him and Hunter, looks like a 15-play drive, 75 yards, 7 minutes off the clock. Hunter had 3 carries in that drive. Bixby had 7. Guys, that is just fantastic. Auburn, that is your formula for getting back in this ball game. And not only getting back in the ball game, but now Auburn's only down by 4, it looks like. 21-17. Let's get you guys up on the so that Ole Miss Tulane game just went went live here within the past few minutes. We were waiting on some updates, so looks like that's delayed. With about 4 minutes gone in the first quarter, Ole Miss up 7-0 against Tulane. At the half, Stanford is up 27-14. And LSU is running away from Central Michigan 42-7. Guys, we're about halfway through the third quarter in that ball game. As Florida has to continue the two-quarterback system, AR has to get his playing time. Don't want to see him transfer. Colton, you know what? That's a good point. And I think because AR wasn't available in this ball game, I think Emory Jones gained a lot of confidence in this ball game, especially after that interception. Because, like I said, in that ball game, Emory Jones could have easily gone in the tank. Credit to that young man, first of all, for not doing so. I think knowing that AR was not going to be coming into the ball game gave him a tremendous amount of confidence in that ball game. How do I feel personally about the transfer portal? Okay, so let me address that. And Colton, fantastic question. So, and guys, we have another hour here with you. So I'll do a reset here at the top of the hour. But so, Colton, I'm gonna take each one of your questions one by one here. How do I feel about the transfer portal? I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think if coaches are able to leave these kids that they recruit without any penalty. Think about Tommy Tuberville leaving Ole Miss, going to Auburn. Think about Dan Mullen leaving Mississippi State to go to Florida. So head coaches can transfer, if you will, without any penalty whatsoever. But we always penalize the kid playing, saying that they had to sit out a year. I think the transfer portal is absolutely fantastic. And I think these kids should be able to transfer without having to give up a year, not of eligibility, but give up a year of playing just because of some archaic rule by the NCAA. It's why people like myself, former college football players, and honestly, former college athletes have wanted to see the NCAA absolutely stripped of every single power that they've had, because they've only benefited themselves and not the quote-unquote student athletes. I'll take your next question here. Do you feel like the kids are transferring too often? No. If you are able to leave your job whenever you want to, I'm not talking about being fired. I'm talking about you have in your day-to-day life the ability to transfer to a different job. These kids should have the right to transfer 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, because here's what was happening in recruiting. And I can speak to this on a personal level. As a young kid that was recruited by multiple schools in multiple sports, these coaches would absolutely lie to these kids to get them on the team, to sign that national letter of intent and then that scholarship. They would make promises to kids about playing time, position, anything to get that kid on campus in the scholarship and to sign that scholarship. Here's what that transfer portal now has done. All of those coaches who lied to these young players now are going to be penalized for that because these kids are going to get on campus. Hey, coach, you promised me an opportunity to compete for the starting quarterback position. I don't feel like I've gotten a clear chance to do that. So I'm going to transfer. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I can guarantee you, if that was your kid, you wouldn't have any problem with them saying to you as the parent that this coach sat in our living room, promised me a chance for playing time. I got to campus. I did all the right things. I went to class. I studied my playbook, but I still don't feel like I got an opportunity to play quarterback for that particular school. I'm going to leave. Now, that's well within that kid's right. Big fourth down stop by Auburn, maybe. Did they not blow that dead? They blew that dead. Okay, guys, I'm gonna hold right here. Colton, I'll get back to your question here. If they blew this dead, guys, this is gonna count like a turnover. That ball is short. That ball is short. Auburn ball. You can measure this all you want to, but if the yellow line is right, and it's usually off by less than half of a yard, but they absolutely stoned this big number 97 for Penn State, and that's Auburn. Oh my goodness, they absolutely stood up this 300-pound fella and he did not get that first down. Guys, there is no way if this stands and it's not overturned on replay. This is Auburn ball inside the Penn State. That ball is short, like I said, by half a yard. It wasn't even close. There is no booth review. There is nothing. Auburn should have the ball right now inside the 40-yard line. Guys, all things are live right now for the University of Auburn. I mean, everything is live right now for the University of Auburn. That was a big-time stop there by them. Okay, Colton, let me get back to your question. Like I said, I absolutely love the transfer portal. As a Gator fan, absolutely. So here's what the transfer portal has done, and Dan Mullen has done a fantastic job of using the transfer portal to make up for some of the shortcomings in recruiting. He's definitely taking. Okay, so let me see if I can say this correctly. He's taking you from a top 15 to top 20 recruiting from the high school standpoint to right outside of the top 10, just based on what he's been able to do to the transfer portal, because kids see that they can get an opportunity to play there for the University of Florida. So he's definitely used that quite a bit. And here's what I'll say to that, Colton. So 15 years ago, before, and really even 10 years ago, Clemson wouldn't have been on this list as far as a school that kids wanted to go to. And I'll let you in on this. And Colton, this is for a lot of fan bases here. Florida was winning national championships, by the way, in the early 90s, before a transfer portal, before NRL. A guy named Steve Spurrier was absolutely dominating the SEC. Wasn't doing that with five-star players. He was doing that with tremendous coaching ability. So, it goes back to this. Teams that will be in the discussion for the college football playoffs, it's going to come down to this. Do you have a coach in place that knows the identity of your program. The job that the coach at Oregon has done has been absolutely fantastic. And guys, I'm blanking on his name here. Like I said, it has been a long afternoon. Oh my goodness, Mario Cristobal. How could I forget Mario? Mario, please forgive me, brother. I had a momentary brain lapse there. So guys, I've known Mario Cristobal for a long time. Tremendous head coach. The job that he's done at Oregon is now one of those schools on the West Coast that can recruit nationwide, not because of NIL, not because of any of that. It's because of his willingness to be honest with these kids that he's recruiting, knows the kind of kid that he's looking for. Ole Miss, with Lane Kiffin being a head coach for Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin is going to be able to recruit a high caliber talent at both the quarterback position, the wide receiver position, the tight end position to come to Ole Miss. The question for Ole Miss will be, can they get that high caliber defensive players to come to Ole Miss? And it's teams like Texas, who will be in the SEC, who've absolutely been a disaster for the past decade. And Texas has all the money, all the recruiting base being there in Texas, but yet they haven't been able to be a winner in the Big 12. Let's see how they do in the SEC. Okay, so another live look in here. Ole Miss, halfway through the first quarter, is up 13-0. They just missed the PAT. LSU still holds a comfortable lead against Central Michigan, 42-14. Georgia up 42-7. That game just went in the fourth quarter. Recapping some of the earlier action. Memphis, 31-29, controversial win. Guys, you'll see that on every network here for the next couple of days. Tennessee, 56-0. Auburn just stuffed in the background. Tank Bixby. That game is not going to go into the fourth quarter. Auburn, decision time here. Fourth and about 3 at the Penn State 20. Oh, I'm going to say the 22-yard line until this game comes back from commercial break here. We'll be going into the fourth quarter. But Tennessee wins 56-0 over Tennessee Tech. Good night. God bless, man. Missouri, 59-28, getting back on the winning foot there after that loss last week to Kentucky versus Southeast Missouri State. Kentucky, speaking of a letdown game, they absolutely had one against Chattanooga, eking out a 5-point win there at home, 28-23. Arkansas, behind a fantastic performance by quarterback KJ Jefferson, 45-10. Texas A&M, Zach Calzada, who will be their starting quarterback for most, if not the rest of the SEC schedule, 19 for 33, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Spiller just not getting off to the kind of start that I expected from this young man. 15 carries, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Demas, 2 receptions, 100 yards, a touchdown, and a 34-0 win against New Mexico. The SEC game of the week, Florida fought like a champion in this ball game against number 1 Alabama, but coming up just a little bit short, 31-29. Vandy, that game's out of halftime, and Stanford just put a touchdown up on the board. Stanford up 34-14. Just talked about the Ole Miss Tulane game. Ole Miss 13, Tulane 0. LSU 42-14. That game is about to go into the fourth quarter here in just a moment. And Georgia up comfortably against South Carolina 40-6. The game of the night right now is Penn State versus Auburn. Auburn has the ball fourth and about 2 on the Penn State 26. This is Brian Harsin's first major decision at the University of Auburn. Does he kick the field goal to make this a 21-20 ball game, or does he risk it and try to push for that touchdown by first converting this fourth and I'm going to call it 4th and 2 on the Penn State 26? Hey, Colton, do I think the NIL will help or harm teams that are lower on the totem pole? Honestly, that's a fantastic question. So when you say teams lower on the totem pole, I think what it's going to do is it's going to allow teams that have truly wealthy boosters to now, I won't say even the playing field, but shrink the gap. And there's one team in the SEC in particular that I'm referring to. And that's the University of Arkansas. Sam Pittman is a fantastic head coach. Browse, the OC, doing a really good job. And Auburn is going to attempt, looks like about a 43-yard field goal with Carlson. Guys, this should be money. And it is. New score in the ball game. Auburn 20, Penn State 21. Guys, Auburn is absolutely in this ball game. But getting back to your question, Colton, I think a team like Arkansas, who has two very significant benefactors, could now pump a lot of money into this program to where now they could go up against an LSU, against a Texas A&M, against a Texas, against an Oklahoma, certainly against an Ole Miss, certainly against a Mississippi State, certainly even against Auburn, and guys, certainly even against an Alabama. Because I want you to think about two predominant supporters of this Arkansas program. One is a former player, a multi-billionaire, and owner of the Dallas Cowboys. That is one Jerry Jones. He is a proud alum of the Arkansas Razorbacks. You don't tell me that Jerry Jones could drop 10, 15, 20, $40 million into that program by himself? Absolutely. Here's another supporter of that Arkansas program. That's the Walmart family. Sam Walton, the late Sam Walton, his family is right there in Bentonville, Arkansas, which is not that far from Fayetteville. The basketball arena on the University of Arkansas's campus is named the Bud Walton Arena. That's Sam Walton's brother, who donated so much money to that school that they named the basketball arena after him. They didn't name a building on campus, okay? They didn't name a street after that family. They named the basketball arena after Bud Walton. The Walmart family has more than enough money, along with Jerry Jones, to pump enough money in this program with the help of the NIL to where Arkansas could become a major player with now Sam Pittman as the head coach, because the only thing that the University of Arkansas boosters were waiting on was the right coach to get behind. That coach is Sam Walton. You're going to see Kendall Browse get a raise. I think that, and he's the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator Barry Odom is going to get a significant raise, just so Sam Pittman can keep that staff together. You are going to now see, and especially with that win over Texas, and guys, I want to take you behind the curtains here a little bit. That win over Texas last week, that wasn't felt just in recruiting, which it will be. Let me tell you where that win was felt significantly. That was in the Metroplex, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, where a lot of those big-time oil executives and, frankly, boosters that we talk about, that's where they work and that's where they live. Let me tell you what Monday morning was like, because I got about 50 messages on my phone that Sunday afternoon. There were Arkansas boosters, Arkansas supporters who walked into their offices on Monday morning wearing that Razorback hog head, wearing their Arkansas blazers with their Arkansas pins, and they were giving Texas supporters the business. And guys, you can read between the lines and know what I mean by business. Guys, watch out for the University of Arkansas over the next couple of years with Sam Pittman. How do I think the SEC will be realigned when Texas and Oklahoma join? Okay, so there's been a couple of things being discussed, and there are two different scenarios that could play out. There's a make sure I get this right, a four pod system set up with 4 teams in each pod. And this would be in order to not add an extra conference game, to where you're not losing the matchups like we saw today, because Alabama has not been to the Swamp in, I think it was over a decade. So that's one scenario. Another scenario would be for Oklahoma and Texas to be slotted in the SEC West, and Alabama and Auburn to be slotted in the SEC East now. So, and I'll just take the Alabama as the test case here. And Penn State's on the move as they just crossed the 50. So with in this scenario, if Alabama and Auburn's in the East, so what that does, that cancels out 2 primary crossover games that the SEC, when they went through the last expansion, when they added Missouri and Texas A&M, busted coverage there by Auburn, tight end inside the 10-yard line. Penn State looking to deliver a knockout punch here to Auburn. Just a blown assignment here. Tight end free release, and Penn State is inside the 5-yard line. Penn State 2nd and goal now, down to the 1-yard line. This is huge here for Penn State, and Sean Clifford is back in the ball game. Oh, did we get an illegal screen here? Oh my goodness. Okay, so it looks like Roger McQuarrie. Is that McLean or is that Roger McQuarrie that just got issued with that targeting penalty? It is McLean. I'm waiting on the replay, guys, to see. Forcible hit to the head. Wow. Wait a minute. Give me a replay on that, guys. One more time. I'm sorry, guys. I want to see if he hits him in the head or no, he hits him in the shoulder. I don't think that's going to be targeting. Curious to see how they rule this, but he didn't lead with his head. He led with the shoulder. Did not hit the head. Oh man, I would hate to see that kid get kicked out of the game for that. And guys, speaking of a fan of college football, and not an Auburn fan in this ball game, not not a Penn State fan, just a fan of college football, you do not want to see this kid kicked out of the game for a hit like this, where he doesn't hit the guy in the head. It looks like doesn't lead with his helmet. No, that's a clean hit. Guys, if he's kicked out of this game for this, man, it's gonna be hard to stomach. Okay, we got the call on the field here. Oh my God. They confirmed targeting, man. They confirmed targeting. Yeah, Cody. I just brought that up. So they do not man, that's a horrible call. Man, just as somebody who loves the sport, that was a clean hit. It's what we've taught these young football players that we don't want them leading with the crown of the helmet. That was a horrible call. Auburn's got to bow their necks here and force a field goal here. A touchdown with Bo Nix as the quarterback would be absolutely devastating. Farr and Marcus Harris, fantastic job of stuffing them on first down here. Colton, to answer your question, when I'm doing these shows, whether it's my podcast or doing this live for Mark Rogers, I don't have a team. Big stop there by Marcus Harris, the transfer from Kansas, making a big time play there for the Auburn Tigers. Tackle for loss there, shed the block. And here's what we've heard about Marcus Harris since he's gotten there at Auburn. This kid has a fantastic motor and just absolutely would not give up on the play. So this is a big time stop here. Third down and goal now from the 4-yard line, it looks like. And this is a must stop for Auburn here. Do we have a delay of game or timeout? Timeout, Penn State. Okay, thought they may have given Auburn back one. Wait a minute. Timeout Auburn. Okay, timeout Auburn. And just looking at Zacoby McLean's face, man, son, you did everything right on that hit. I mean, I'm sorry. You did everything right. Tulane on the board with a touchdown with 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Ole Miss 13, Tulane 7. Ole Miss has the ball at just crossing midfield. So we'll keep an eye out on this ball game as Ole Miss looks to climb up the rankings even further from their number 17 spot right now. LSU Central Michigan, guys, if you want the update on it, it's 42-14. We're just going into the fourth quarter. Georgia, South Carolina, halfway through the fourth quarter, Georgia is up 40-13 in that contest. And bear with me, guys. I'm looking at some other scores around college football because we're keeping a close eye on all of these games right now because these results are going to affect some SEC teams as far as where they're going to be slotted in the new poll that's going to come out tomorrow. North Carolina up 45-31 on Virginia, so don't expect North Carolina to drop in the polls. I think, and I was trying to check the Oregon game real quick, guys, just to see. I believe they're up still pretty big as well. So a lot of good action going on tonight. A lot of good action going on. But this is going to be a huge stop for the University of Auburn if they can get it. Oregon up in the third quarter over Stony Brook 24-7. So looks like they're going to do enough just to stick where they are in the polls because clearly they're not going to look worse than what Oklahoma looked in their contest. A game that our team is following, and I just got an update. BYU is up 7-0 on Arizona State early on in that contest. So my team over at Crunch Time is going to be keeping an eye on that. So you can see some SEC teams definitely move up this week, but this right here is going to be a significant play in this ball game. We got 10:52 left to go in the fourth quarter. Auburn facing an absolute must stop in this ball game. And they're looking to their big time playmaker here, Dotson. They pull it and running back walks into the end zone, touchdown. And you got to think if McQuarrie is still in the ball game, does he prevent that touchdown? So Penn State is up 27-20. Now the question for Penn State is, do they go for two? I don't know what this linebacker was reading here, but he gets out of position, gets washed down, isn't able to get back into the play. And I'm pretty sure he's the guy that was filling in for McClain there. So they do kick the extra point. It is good, 28-20, Auburn trailing in this ball game. But plenty of time left to go in this ball game. Bo Nix, man, do you trust Bo? If you do, you got to put the ball in Bo Nix's hands right now. All right, so coming this season, Sam Howell was a hot. Now, here's what I'll say about his stock. Sam Howell will be evaluated on how does he perform the rest of the season, and especially in those pre-draft workouts. Same will be said for Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral, who I expect to come out in this draft. Same with Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. Those three guys have been at the top of our watch list since the season started. So, going to be interesting to see how they perform the rest of this ball game. To my friend Tabs, Tabs, thanks for watching. And now Tabs is a big Michigan fan, so her Wolverines are definitely pulling for Auburn here in this ball game to pull off the comeback. Just because, and I'll tell you a great thing about Tabs: anybody that beats a team that Michigan has to play, Tabs is all for it. So thanks, Tabs, for checking in to Talking SEC. Even though we're watching this to see if Auburn can help out your Wolverines there in this contest. Down 8, guys. So here's what Bo cannot be Bo. Got to drive. Can't take off. A lot of time on the clock. 10:48. And one possession ball game. Got to not only score, got to score, get the 2-point conversion, and then see where you're at in this ball game. Hey, Jet, welcome in. Moral victories, nonsense from my fellow Gators. Jet, I understand that. This was not a ball game you were supposed to win. It was a game that you played well enough to win. And credit all of those fans that were in the swamp. That absolutely had an effect on this Alabama offensive line. We saw not only the false start penalties, but just the inability for Alabama to communicate on the road in a hostile environment. And I will tell you, being around this conference for the better part of 30 plus years, when you talk about hostile environments in this conference, in no particular order, Death Valley at LSU, Bryant-Denny in Alabama, the Swamp in Florida, those are the 3 hardest places to get a win on the road. And nice first down throw there by Bo Nix out to couldn't catch the number on the jersey. Looks like the tight end, number 47. Just on a quick tight end out route, able to pick up about 15, 17 yards there on that first down. So big time first down play there by Bo Nix. Do we have a procedure penalty on Ole Miss? Auburn in this game. I was just looking. Ole Miss just scored. Auburn, a legal substitution. 1st and 15, Auburn. Can't have those kind of penalties. Credit that fan base in this whiteout game. And guys, if you're not watching this game live, and thank you for watching on the show here with me, this atmosphere in Penn State, this is an SEC caliber atmosphere. 100,000+ fans there in Happy Valley, absolutely going bonkers in Beaver Stadium. Good first down and 15 play there by Tank, just picking back up some of the yardage that they lost. Looks like it's going to be 2nd and 10 with we just went under 10 minutes left to go in this ball game. Reset. 2nd and 12, Auburn on their own 39-yard line. Big time play call here by Harsin and the coach, quarterback. Wide receiver just couldn't come down with that ball. I mean, that ball was thrown high. Colton, Bo Nix. Okay, so now I don't follow recruiting. I know a lot of people in this business that do. Um, Bo Nix was a highly touted quarterback coming out of the state of Alabama. Guys, he was an Auburn legacy. His dad, Pat White, played. I'm sorry, his dad, Pat. Um, Pat Patrick Nix played quarterback at Auburn, so there was really no doubt that he was going to go to Auburn. Bo Nix has been inconsistent, is what I would say. You'll have some really good games with Bo, but he doesn't string 4 and 5 games together really well. 3rd and 17. Guys, this could be the ball game here. Horrible throw there by Bo Nix. 4th and 17. You got to punt it, and you got to hope that your defense can force a 3 and out. Okay, so Ole Miss at the end of the first quarter up 19-7. Let's see, we're got 7 minutes left to go in the LSU game. They're still up 49-21. Georgia, South Carolina still 40-13, and Stanford starting to pull away from Vandy 34-17. Looks like about 3 minutes left to go in the ball game. I'm sorry, three minutes left to go in the third quarter for Vandy Stanford. So 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter there. So we'll see if Vandy can mount a comeback like they did last weekend against Colorado State. Which team has the best uniform combo, in my opinion? So, Colton, I'm a traditional guy, so I don't care for the Oregon color combinations. Really never been a fan of that. So, give me Georgia wearing their traditional red jerseys. Give me Alabama in their crimson jerseys. But if I had to pick an alternate uniform of all the combinations that I have seen, those powder blues of Ole Miss are pretty sweet. Man, those are pretty sweet. So as far as alternate uniforms, the Ole Miss powder blues, without a doubt. Do not care for the Georgia. Do not care for the Georgia black jerseys whatsoever. I think those things are hideous. Georgia being a staple program in the SEC, those things are absolutely ugly, in my opinion. I do like the LSU all white. Do like that. So when LSU wears the white helmet, the white jersey, the white pants, that's a good look. That is a good look. I'm trying to think of any alternate uniforms that would fit. Colton, that's a fantastic question, man. But I think as far as alternate uniforms, and like I said, I'm not a fan of them, but that LSU all white and the powder blue Ole Miss jerseys, like that a lot. Now, Jeff, I'll say Yeah, that's not a bad look, man. That's not a bad look. The Missouri all white. Mm. Now, Colton, let me ask you a question. And jump back in. Um, because I'm drawing a blank as far as Missouri. Do they wear the white helmets as well, or is it they're still staple um, black helmets with that? Because if they're wearing the white helmets with that, then that's a good look, man. That's a good look. Guys, Tulane is inside the Ole Miss 10-yard line, looking to punch it in. And I'm not saying Tulane's going to win this ball game, but this could be absolutely devastating to Ole Miss if they drop this ball game. All right, guys, here's the ball game. Penn State, 3rd and 1 on their own. Okay, we're going to officially call it 3rd and 2 because that's what ESPN has it as. 3rd and 2 looks like Penn State's on their own 32-yard line. Guys, Penn State could milk another 2 minutes off of this clock if they convert this first down. Thanks, Colton. Yeah, so they do wear the all white helmets. That bumps up in the as far as the alternate uniforms. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Big time stop. Auburn forces the 4th down. Number 31 for Auburn just absolutely got in the backfield and forced that for a 4-yard loss. Who else would it be? Wooten. Guys, I will tell you that Wooten is one of the best defensive players in all of the SEC. That was a big time stop there. Okay, Auburn is going to get the ball back under 7 minutes left to go at their own 24-yard line. You're looking at how this possession goes, guys. We're looking at 1, maybe 2 more possessions in this ball game. So this is a must score for Auburn on this drive. Guys, I got you for the next 18 minutes. I am going to be giving as many updates on this Penn State Auburn game as time will allow before I have to switch it over to our post-game coverage. Okay, so that game just went final with Georgia and South Carolina. Georgia holds on to win 40-13. Guys, I'm going to pull up a box score here for this Georgia team because 40-13 against South Carolina. This Georgia team is still having some trouble running the ball. Okay. Still having some trouble running the ball. 31 carries, 184 yards on the ground, 5.9 yards per carry. Versus a South Carolina who doesn't have a great run defense. I'm not saying it is a big problem. Very concerning. Very, very concerning. If you are a University of Georgia Bulldog fan and Florida fans, listen to this part very, very carefully. Yeah, Colton, I was wondering, Jet, who are you talking about as far as the good tackling? I'm going to put your comment back up here. If you're talking about Auburn and Derek Mason, Derek Mason, while at Stanford, was considered a top flight defensive coordinator. At Vanderbilt, what struggled at Vanderbilt is what every head coach at the University of Vanderbilt is going to struggle with. It is the talent gap. And gentlemen, put your comment up here. It is the talent gap that Vandy was under. Guys, I don't care, and guys, I'm just going to be brutally honest here. I don't care if Bill Belichick is your head coach. Nick Saban is your secondary coach. I don't care if Vince Lombardi is your linebacker coach. I don't care if Tom Landry coaches your defensive line. The University of Vanderbilt plays with a talent gap. And until they invest the resources in a city like Nashville, they are going to absolutely kill coaches' careers. Derek Mason, make no mistake, is a top-flight defensive coordinator. And if he continues on at Auburn, he's going to get another head coaching job. I hope it's outside of the SEC footprint or at a job in the SEC where he will have the opportunity to coach a much better roster. Colton, you're absolutely right. Derek Mason got a bum rap by the fans and some of the boosters here in Nashville because of what James Franklin was able to do those couple of years. Guys, let me give you a quick review on James Franklin when he was at the University of Vanderbilt. Georgia was a mess. Florida was a mess. South Carolina was a mess. And even with the success that James Franklin had, James Franklin could not get Vandy to the SEC title game. Missouri has been twice since they've joined this conference. So it was unreal expectations on Vandy's part. And honestly, that's why James Franklin did the smart thing that a coach will do. He got out of Vandy before Tennessee started to get a little bit better, before South Carolina got a little bit better, before Georgia hired Kirby Smart. Florida was still trying to figure out who was going to be their next winning coach after Urban Meyer left. So there was a lot of reasons why James Franklin's record looked as well as it did. So when the Penn State job came open, when then Coach Bill O'Brien for Penn State left to go to the NFL coaching the Houston Texans, this is just a dumb penalty on Penn State, guys. Sorry to interrupt that thought, but just an unsportsmanlike penalty for hitting Bo Nix out of bounds gives Auburn a free 15 yards for absolutely nothing. Auburn's already at midfield, just crossed over midfield at the Penn State 44-yard line. Guys, we got a little under 6 minutes left to go in this ball game. Auburn's got to punch this thing in right now. Auburn goes back to the Gus Malzahn jet sweep, this time with Tank Bigsby, though. Why not Kentucky and Vanderbilt going to hey, Colton, are you saying go to the ACC? Okay, so first of all, Kentucky's a charter member of the SEC. Why would they leave the SEC in all of that revenue that they're about to get when the new television deals are worked out? Oh, my goodness. Turnover by Auburn, fumble, scoop, score, Penn State. If this play stands, this game is absolutely over. But to get back to that point, Kentucky nor Vanderbilt is finna give up all of the money that they're finna get when the SEC redoes their television contract. Right now, each SEC team gets somewhere in the tune of 40-something million dollars a year. Add in the money that they're going to get with Texas, Oklahoma, and those new TV deals from ESPN, whether it's CBS, whether it's whoever the secondary partner is that's going to cover the SEC. And let's see if this is a fumble or not. Okay, he is down on the ground. That should be down by contact. No, Colton. Let me tell you. To quote the famous rap group in the early '90s, the Wu-Tang Clan, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Kentucky and Vanderbilt are not about to give up over $50+ million to go to the ACC. I don't care if they have a remote chance of winning that conference or not. There is a better chance of me growing 5 more inches and not doing these shows and going to play in the NFL before that happens. Colton, it's all about the money, brother. It's all about the money. The ACC revenue cut on their deal is not going to be nearly what the SEC deal is going to be. Okay, and as expected, that call was overturned. The ball carrier for Auburn, Jackson, was ruled down. He should have been. He was clearly down. So that was not a scoop and score. Colton, Vanderbilt being a charter member of this conference, they're looking at being able to take that SEC money and compete in other sports. And Jet, you're absolutely right. Let me put that up here for just a second. So because I live here in Nashville, I can speak to this with a lot of knowledge of the situation. So Vanderbilt has one of the best baseball programs over the past decade, winning a couple of national championships, in college baseball. For years, Vanderbilt had a really good men's basketball program. It'll be curious to see if they're able to get back there with Jerry Stackhouse, but thanks, Tabs. It will be interesting to see if Vanderbilt under Jerry Stackhouse is able to get back to that level. Okay, we got developments, guys. Auburn, 1st and goal, or either 1st and 10 at the 11. Hunter just pulled a Najee Harris, jumped over a defensive back, and goes another 15 yards. I mean, Najee Harris, this guy, goes low, and he just absolutely hurdles him. Keeps his momentum, picks up another 15 yards. It is 1st and goal. Auburn inside, right at the 10-yard line. Unfortunate for Auburn that he didn't go out at the 11. Could have got a first and 10 inside of the goal line there. Horrible throw there by Bo Nix. Okay, so 4 minutes, 22 seconds left to go. Guys, this is 4-down territory. Jack, you're absolutely right. So Vanderbilt uses that SEC money to fund not only their athletic program, but that money finds its way into non-sports related scholarships. And some of the things that the new Vanderbilt AD has committed to Tank Bigsby stopped for a minimum gain on second down. Guys, it's going to be 3rd and goal, Auburn at the Penn State 9-yard line. So Vanderbilt's not going to give up that money. Kentucky, the premier basketball program in the Southeastern Conference, is not going to leave the SEC to join the ACC, where they're going to have to go against teams like Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse. So there is no chance that Kentucky does that whatsoever. Kentucky has been the premier program in college basketball in the SEC dating back to the 1950s with Adolph Rupp, legendary coach there for Kentucky. And side note, the University of Kentucky at one point had, and it was only to be spelled out later with their coaching careers, but Adolph Rupp is considered one of the top 5 greatest college basketball coaches of all time. And there was a coach there at Kentucky by the name of William Bryant, who later left Kentucky to go to Texas A&M for a couple of years before returning home to the University of Alabama, where he would spend the next 25 years and become, at the time, up until his passing in 1982, the greatest college football coach of all time, Coach Paul Bear Bryant. So Kentucky had not only a great college basketball coach, but now the second greatest college football coach of all times. Guys, here I got another 4 minutes with you. Want to wrap up the show really quickly by doing a last-minute recap. Jet, I'm going to put your comment up here. Guys, thank you for all of the interaction tonight. This show is nothing without you, the fans, listening and watching. So on behalf of Mark Rogers, on behalf of myself, Kenneth from the Crunch Time Sports Advantage Network, thank you for all the interaction. I've hopefully tried to address every single comment in the chat tonight. Love to do so. And taking a look at the SEC action here really quickly. Ole Miss up 26-7 on Tulane, halfway to go in the second half. What did Bo Nix just do? Bo Nix just threw the ball out of bounds on a 4th and goal from the 2-yard line, thinking he was going to get a pass interference. And you're not going to get that call on the road, dude. No. No, that's a bang-bang call, and that ball was thrown out of bounds. Even with this being an SEC crew, was never going to give you that call. So Auburn now down by 8, 3 minutes left to go. Penn State got the ball on the 2-yard line. Just brain damage throw there by Bo Nix. Take the ball and run it. You are a dual threat runner. Okay, let's reset really quickly before I get out of here. Auburn, 1 timeout, 3:08 left on the clock. Have to force a 3 and out. False start on Penn State. Just not gonna affect the ball. You're inside the 2-yard line. That ball is gonna move back half the distance, which is basically a yard. So it's gonna be 1st and 10. Penn State on their own 1-yard line. Now, what you got to watch out here for Penn State: can't give up a holding penalty in the end zone. Can't turn the ball over. This is going to be huge, guys. Hey, flip over to this game if you haven't done so already. Safety by Auburn. Nope. They're going to say he got out of the end zone. Guys, it has been my pleasure. Tabs, I will be in touch with you, my friend, this week. Looking forward to talking with you about your Wolverines. But that was almost a huge Huge mistake there by Penn State. Let's see if he gets out of the end zone. Barely. Guys, this is as close to being a safety as you can possibly get. 2nd and 12 on the 1-inch line for Penn State. Guys, enjoy the rest of your night. We've been talking SEC here on Mark Rogers TV. Pass interference on Auburn, guys. That's the ball game. Enjoy your night, everybody. Take care.